Discuss this with CNN security correspondent Josh Campbell, as well as Jason Armstrong, the former police chief of Ferguson, Missouri. Josh, are there rules about what weapons you're allowed to bring with you on an Army base?
Yeah, firearms are highly regulated. In fact, but for a select group, including law enforcement, you're essentially unable to lawfully carry a firearm on a military base. In certain installations, including this one here, Fort Stewart, if a soldier brings a personal firearm on base, it has to be registered with the installation and then securely stored. You can't just carry it around with you around the base. Of course, that appears to be one of the weakest links here, is that because the individual had authorized access to the base, he was then able to come on and bring that without being searched. I know there will be people who say, well, why don't you search every vehicle before they actually get on the installation? For those who have been to a military base, particularly during rush hour, I mean, you have cars lined up for blocks sometimes. So I don't think that's actually realistic. That's just the threat here potentially. And that's why the military employs other means to try to detect insider threats, Jake.
Chief Armstrong, we know that the suspect's in custody and that he was tackled and subdued by soldiers. What does this tell you about how this might have played out?
What it tells me is the individuals that were involved, they were all in the same area. Potentially, they all worked together. And so whatever led this individual to make the decision to pull the weapon out and to start shooting individuals, one, it was either related to an altercation or something that was sparked in the moment, and this was an act that was just in the moment, or it was something where this individual had a long-standing challenge or problem with somebody there, and things escalated to where they felt the need to bring a weapon into that space and wanted to carry this out.
And Josh, you're still an officer in the military reserve. What does the U.S. military do to try to prevent and stop incidents like these? Obviously, this is not as bad as the Fort Hood shooting we all remember from years ago, but it could have really, it's bad enough, but it could have even been much worse.
Yeah, absolutely. But for those soldiers subduing this person, you can only imagine how worse this could have been. To your question about what the military does, there's physical security. Anyone who goes up to a base, you roll up at the ACP, the access control point. You have military police that are there controlling access. But again, we're talking about an individual who had authorized access to be on the base. And that's why the military regularly trains people and reinforces the training on trying to look for warning signs about potential insider threats. And that includes, you have a colleague, a friend in the military, you start to notice that there's something off about them. Maybe they're having, different struggles financially or personally. And the goal with that training is to sensitize people that, look, you don't just sit on that information, which is why it's going to be very interesting and important here for investigators with Army CID to actually interview people in the shooter's orbit, his friends, his colleagues, any of the victims, to determine whether or not, they had some type of beef with him. And so, again, that's what they try to sensitize the soldiers to, that, look, it's incumbent on everyone, if you see someone who is struggling, to speak up, the goal being to try to prevent something like this.
Chief Armstrong, what kind of information do you think law enforcement is working to get out of the suspect right now?
The number one question that they're trying to answer is, why did this happen and how did it happen? Whenever you have an incident like this, there are going to be a lot of questions that people on the base and people in our community are going to want answers to. And you're trying to figure out what contributed to this, because the number one thing that you want to do on the other side of it is to try to ensure that this doesn't happen again. So they're going to be looking at how this happened, how he got the weapon in there, why the checks and balances that they had in place failed in this instance, so they can put things in place to try to prevent this from happening again.
And Josh, while the motive remains unclear and under investigation, I'm curious your thoughts as to how investigators are working to figure that out right now. Obviously, they're interrogating the suspect. Beyond that, what else?
Yeah, we're not talking about someone just firing upon one person. And so, it appears this could have been, indiscriminate firing. So there will be that question. What was the motivation? Was this some type of a situation between this individual and a group? Were there other stressors that this person was then acting upon? It's interesting. The FBI has gone back and studied past mass shooters, the famed FBI profilers. They found certain commonalities, and that is that most people in these situations, they don't just snap one day and then start to engage in violence, but they go along this pathway and become more and more working toward that violent effort. And a lot of times, in most of these situations, the profilers have found they do exhibit those warning signs. And so that will be what is critical here to try to determine what was the shooter going through in his life that then, resulted in this. Interestingly, our colleague John Miller reported that back in May, the suspect was arrested by local law enforcement, it appears off base, for driving while under the influence. It appears that information did not actually get to the military because a brigadier general who spoke just a short time ago said that they weren't aware of that past contact. And so there is this question, were there things that were spiraling in his life to include now running up against the U.S. criminal justice system? All those big questions for investigators as they try to piece together the why.
Well, you mentioned the U.S. criminal justice system, Josh, and I'm wondering on that. I mean, obviously the military has its own uniform code of justice. Yeah. Is he ultimately just going to be handed over to local law enforcement, whether the sheriff's department or the police department? Or is there some way that the military will handle this? Yeah,
and when I said that, I meant the DUI off base would be handled by the regular U.S. criminal justice system. But he's now in the military justice system, which falls under what they call the Uniform Code of Military Justice. The military has its own justice department and its own prosecutors, its own courts, for example. And that is where he will be likely, I assume he will be tried here, obviously for attempted murder, it appears. And, obviously the military can convict people and can fine people just like the U.S. Justice Department could as well. And so he certainly faces very, very serious consequences. All right, Josh Campbell, Chief Armstrong, thanks to both of you. Appreciate it. We're going to have much more.